Hello and welcome back to Grace.Filled. I'm so excited because I get to be back with you guys for another video to give you all of the February updates. Are you ready to talk about what happened in February? Okay, so we're gonna start with minimalism. So you guys know I have been on this kick for 5-6 years or whatever. I have not really decluttered anymore because you guys saw me declutter everything. My clothes, my jewelry, my makeup, my drawer, like my bathroom drawers, all of my stuff. So I feel like I'm in a good place with that. The whole idea about it is just getting rid of what you don't need and want and what doesn't bring you joy. So you have more time and space for the things that you do want and that does bring you joy. Okay, let's talk about product empties. So I had this Dr. Bronner's, which was lemon. I'm assuming it's lemon because of the color. Is it lemon? Is it lemon? Is it lemon? Is it lemon? Or is it citrus? Of course you'd have me on the camera looking like this. So anyway, lemon or citrus, either way it's gone. And this mom sent it Mrs. Myers. And actually, this is not the one that was empty. Little hack. We have this lotion and hand soap container that matches, and the soap was empty, so I poured that one into the container so they could say matchy matchy. Those are empties, and I did have a toothpaste as well. Let's talk about the highs of the month. The highs of the month were the challenges, were the changes in me and in my heart. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yeshua HaMashiach did a work on me and my heart. And I'm so grateful. I am so thankful. Things that I thought I could never make it through or get over or forgive, like there is no way you can forgive somebody for this. There is no way that you can look at somebody the same after this. And he did a work on my heart and just reminded me of the cross. And my life has changed, okay? It'll never be the same. Let's talk about the lows. Kind of goes we just talked about. It's not really a low, but let's just say low. And that was just like the conviction. When he revealed to me, like, you have a heart of stone concerning XYZ, I was like, oh, okay. All right, Father. All right. I'll just sit down. I'll just be quiet. I'm just being honest. And also, I kind of hit some time management issues here. And I think that's because I've never talked about in these videos, I am a reader. I don't know if you know that. I would assume you do, but you can't really assume. So I am a big avid reader. And so between, you know, the time with the Most High God, Yahweh, between my husband trying to make sure he is next on that list, or not that we could ever exclude the Father, that he's my first, that I'm making sure that I'm meeting all of his needs. And let's be honest, men have some needs. So between the Father and my husband and my children, my home school, you know, the homemaking, now getting ready to work on the garden, homestead work, it's just been a lot, then balancing that with my love of reading, my love of making videos. My goal for this year was to make 3 videos a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And it just so happens that I always typically have 4 to 5 videos per week, sometimes even 6, because I have a lot that I want to share and a lot that I can share. But sometimes it just takes time to get out the cameras, to get out the tripods, and I'm not really good at all the various angles and the way my kitchen is shaped and laid out. I can't get it the way I want it, and I'm not a perfectionist, but I want it to be nice and not like I just threw something together. But I don't want it to be scripted, and I don't want it to be rehearsed and recorded. I want it just to be as natural as the air that I breathe. I want you to see the truth, but in a way that it's not, you know, I think you got what I'm saying. So that was that. The last thing for me was not buying anything. And it's not that I typically buy anything or not that I typically shop, but when I went to Walmart, Physicians Formula had like their entire line over 50% off. And I didn't have any of those items. You guys know I'm very minimal when it comes to my makeup and things like that. So the fact that they had all of these items, that I loved and wanted and maybe had on my wish list at a price that I could afford. Being a mommy of 5, a stay-at-home mommy on one income, I was just like, I just want to get it. Like, nobody has to know. I can do it. And I was like, no, Christy, no. Yahweh is a provider. He knows what we need. He knows what we have need of. And he said, I'll give you the desires of your heart. And so it was like, I had this much more like moisturizer. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm almost out. The rule was if you had a gift card, you can use that. But when you ran out of something, you could replace it. I was like I really just want to slap. Anyway, so that was something that was hard for me. Another hard thing for me was seeing all of the books for Black History Month, all the books with all of the children and covers and characters that look like me and my family, and that's not something that is seen all the time. So I was like, oh, and of course I was like, no. So we've talked about minimalism, product, empty, the highs. We talked about the lows. I've got pretty much 2 more things I want to talk about: my no buy month challenge and the books that I read. I'm going to start first with the books that I read for this month of February. I read 6 books, and I'm just wondering where's the other book. So, okay, the first book I read for the month was their Second Chance at Love, and this was really a good book. I could relate so much, you know. I just could see from the other characters' point of view, and this book is by Love Inspired, but basically Hope Dillon thought she left the town of Braxton behind her, right along with the man she abandoned. But when her father falls ill, Hope anxiously flies home to find her former lover Logan right where she left him. Being around Logan again feels like old times. The spark between them remains, and so does the secret that forced Hope to end things, one she knows will always keep them apart. But when her father's conditions worsen, Hope feels the weight of everything she might lose. But how can she come clean to Logan without closing the door on their happily ever after again? It was a good book. It's not a long read, 214 pages. I would give it probably 3.5 stars if I was gonna read that one. This one was The Unlikely Proposal, also by the same Love Inspired. This is by Tony Shallow. And my sweet friend Shalise sent this to me, so thank you, Shalise. It was so good. 2 best friends, a marriage could be their greatest test yet. Trinity Davis must not have heard firefighter Omar Young correctly. Did her handsome widowed best friend just suggest they get married? Omar needs a mom for his adorable little girls, and it'll fix Trinity's financial woes. But saying I do isn't just business, especially when the only vow they're in danger of breaking is their promise not to fall in love. But this is just such a sweet little book. I absolutely love a book that has people that look like me and that portray us in such a beautiful and such a positive light. Trinity was such a phenomenal stepmom. So often stepmoms are portrayed in a negative light, and she was just absolutely beautiful. And so I love that they portrayed her in that way. And Omar was such an amazing guy, daily going in to risk his life as a firefighter for the safety of others. And he loved his wife, he loved his children, he was just faithful and devoted, such an amazing man. And I love the internal struggles of trying to let go of what was and accept what is, but not being sure and just worried. But the thing that drew my heartstring the most was how they prayed and how they just kept faith and Yeshua HaMashiach, you know, in the center of it. And I love the wisdom that all the other characters and stuff played. And the best part of this, I probably should hold off on it, but because I'm going to share that on my Bookstagram page. But I got to talk with this author and I got to ask her some questions, and she has two of the characters, I won't give too much away, but two of the characters in this book have their own series coming out. So I'm so excited about that book. That book like put me like into a reading, like just couldn't wait to read more and get all excited. Of course, you guys know the book of the month that we did for February was The Power of a Praying Wife. So that was the third book. That book will get you all the way together. And it's like, it doesn't matter what the other person said, did, da-da-da-da. It's about you and your relationship. And again, that forgiveness. And I tell you, I'm a better wife. I really am. Okay, the other two books I read on here, no, I didn't think about that, was In Search of a Prince right here, and Pearl in the Sand. Oh man. In Search of a Prince is another book by Toni Shallow, because I just love that book. And basically it's where Brielle finds out that she now is the princess to a beautiful place in Africa. Her dad was a prince and he had kind of hidden it. His dad died and the mom didn't pass on the secret, but now that the grandfather's on his deathbed, Brie gets to travel with her best friend there, and she's deciding if she will take the throne, if she will not. And of course there are people who are out to get her. Will they win? Will they succeed? Is there someone inside doing insider work? But again, there was a lot of prayer. This book was presented in such a great way. This book was clean. There was one kiss at the end, like your children could read that. In Search of a Prince was so clean. There was nothing that was inappropriate, just really clean Christian romance, and I am here for it, and I loved it. And again, just people being presented in amazing lights and views. And we have Pearl in the Sand, Tessa Afar. I think this book probably has to be, if not my number one, my number two favorite books ever. I fell in love with Rahab in a way that I never did before. Being able to see her live, being able to see all that was happening, being able to kind of go back to that time to step foot there and just really experience that. And just seeing her faith, the faith that she had, but seeing the love that her husband had for us. He loved us as Christ loved the church, and the willingness to keep showing her this love, even though he was met with these walls. Woo! It was such a good book. I have one more book that I read. I read 6 books, and let me find out what that last book was that I read. Oh, The Centurion's Wife. How did I forget that? Oh, it was such a good book. Another clean romance. We saw a kiss on their wedding day. We see this betrothal. We kind of follow this journey to see these two non-Christians who are instructed for various reasons to go find out the truth about Yeshua's, death, burial, resurrection, ascension back. And along this journey, they find much more than the answers to what they sought. They found him. Although they did not get to see him, they met him, they heard him, they experienced him. And we see just love in such a beautiful way. And we see that thirst and that hunger for the knowledge and for the truth. And it just so happens that Leah, the pilot's niece, was sent by his wife to find out the truth, and Pilate sent Album, the centurion, to find out the truth. And they're actually betrothed to be married, and it's just such an amazing book. The stories, how everything came together, how everything was reunited. I would have loved to hear more about Pilot's wife, because it was her dream that foretold Pilot have nothing to do with this man. She kept being tormented. Because she was tormented, she sent out Leah to be a spy. Because Leah went out to be a spy, she came back into touch with her roots, and it ultimately brought back another family together. There was just so many things. I would have loved to hear more about her. But anyway, I don't want to go too far in these. Those are the 6 books that I read for the month. And now let's talk about the last thing, my no buy challenge. Did I succeed? Yes and no. I did pick up some things that were garden related, and I didn't count them as me personally, because you guys know I am Grace.Filled Gardens, and that is technically my business. I sell at the farmers market, etc., cut flowers, you know, produce and things like that. So that was business and not pleasure. So you can decide if that was a break or not a break. But it was hard for me not to break my nose spin. But it was such a fun challenge. I'm really happy with all of you guys who joined me for my February's Grace-Filled Ladies and Gentlemen of Grace Challenge. And if you don't know, I just posted what the March challenge is for the Ladies and Gentlemen of Grace, and you can see what that challenge is, and you can join us, and then I'll come back and update you, and we'll have a live, and there's always a book of the month, and this book of the month is for March, is Forgiving What You Can't Forget. I don't make this video super long, but I thought you guys might like to know what was happening, what's going on. Oh, and lastly, for the homeschool, the update is that, you know, I had told you before we were doing a lot more audiobooks and we weren't reading as much. I had kind of stopped the read alouds. I'm back with the read alouds. This is middle grade March. So we're doing a lot of reading of middle grade books, and I'll be back to share some of those with you if you guys are interested in that. Yeah, if you want to know more about the books I read, I do have an Instagram page for that, and it is Grace.Filled Reads. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So my goal for this year is to read 50 books, and so far in 1 month I've read 6 of my 50. I think the goal last year was to read 12, the year before that to read 12. I think I've met both my 2020, my 2021 goals, and now I'm working on these 2022 goals. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you. I'll see you back in my next video, and until then, blessings, and you can do a lot with a little. Blessings.